Hi guys, welcome to another video in this channel. My name is Abraham Leal and I welcome you to another 3D Basics. Today we're going to be talking about the displacement maps but inside of Maya. Some of you commented on yesterday's video that you do want to learn how to do it, so let's go. I actually found something really cool while browsing more information and preparing all of these videos. So I'm going to be showing this tomorrow. It's a nice little thing that Maya has, and it apparently has had for like a couple of years now, and I just didn't know about it, and Blender now has it as well. So stay tuned for tomorrow's video because I think you guys are gonna like it. Now, on this one, I'm actually gonna be doing something a little bit different. Instead of doing a plane, let's do a sphere. The advantage of using a sphere right here is I want to show you what happens with the poles, because this is important with displacements. And as you can see here, the sphere has poles, and those poles are gonna have a little bit of an issue, but we're gonna see shortly. So I'm gonna go into Arnold. Let's add a sky dome light. And let's go into the options here, Control A to go into the options, to the attribute editor. And I'm going to click here, color. Actually, let me turn on the cardinal thing. There we go. I've forgotten about this one. So yeah, select the HDR, and then on the color tab, I'm just going to plug in a node, which is going to be a file node. And if you have your project set up, you should be able to just reference in an HDR. This is one thing I like about Maya that I'm not sure if Blender has. If anyone at Blender knows about this, let me know in the comments down here. But I like the fact that inside of Maya, you actually have like a project that you can set, and then everything lives inside of this project. I've seen people with Blender just work like crazy or just create like a new folder. So one thing I've been doing is I just create a folder from Maya and then just use it in Blender. But anyway, so this is the source image here, and let's use this like Canon thing. Yeah, that one looks good. So very like overcast shadow, which is it's fine. And then I'm gonna go up here. Oh, by the way, Maya 2020.3 released. I was gonna mention this at the beginning of the video, and then I totally forgot. Let me show you here. So there were a couple of fixes, nothing big to be honest. Here, let's go to the. There's like a couple of things that they changed, like GPU support, just like bug fixes and stuff. Yeah, so there's a couple of things here and there. So if you are subscribed to the Maya thing, make sure to update it because we just got this one like today, I think, literally, or yesterday. So Maya 2022.3. And again, I was mentioning this on yesterday's video. I like the fact that both Blender and Maya are now like actually competing, and they're releasing things, because that only benefits us as artists, because yeah, competition breeds innovation. So I'm going to click over here, which is the hypershade, and we're going to set up our shader for the displacement, okay? So I'm going to go here into Arnold, and I'm going to select a shader, and we're going to go down here to AI Standard Surface. And this AI Standard Surface, let's just rename it. Let's call this Rocks. And you guys probably remember from yesterday that I mentioned that in the same way in which you can just drag and drop things from Arnold into... or from the file browser into Blender, you can also do it as well here in Maya. So let me navigate real quick. So here we are at the displacement maps. Now, if you don't know where to find this, guys, remember we're using Polyhaven, one of the best places to get free stuff. If you want to support, make sure to go here and support HDRs, textures, and models. You just click texture, and any texture you might want to use, just click on it, go over here, and make sure you select all of the maps that you need. You can actually download them in specific file formats like Blender if you're a Blender user, so pretty handy. Now, I'm just going to grab all of this, guys, and just going to drag and drop them over here. And as you can see, we get the input inside of Maya. So super handy, because again, we don't have to create all of the nodes. It automatically creates the appropriate nodes. And now just start connecting. So this one is a little bit different from Blender. Not super different, but just slightly. So the diffuse, for instance, which is the color, we're just going to plug in the out color into the base color. And that's it. Oh, out color, base color. There we go. Then a displacement, we're going to wait a little bit. We're going to do that at the very end. So let's go over here. Normal map. It's going to go in the normal map, but we can't just like input it like this. So I'm actually going to be using an AI normal map node. I just press tab key, your tab key, and then just type in AI normal. So the input is going to be the out color, and the out value is going to go into the normal of the camera. And this normal, very important that we set this to a raw. So utility raw, so that it properly like reads the normal information. Then we have this one right here, and if you remember from yesterday's video, if you saw it, thank you, and if you didn't, no problems. This is for Maya. This texture is a special texture that actually has three maps inside of it. It has an ambient occlusion map, it has a roughness map, and a metallic map. Now, right now, there's nothing in the metallic channel, in the blue channel, because there's no metallic elements on our texture. It's just rocks, right? No metal elements. And if we want to add the ambient occlusion, we're going to do something similar to what we did inside of Blender, which is we're going to multiply the red channel against the diffuse channel. So there is a node called AI multiply, and we're going to multiply my input here. Or this is a little bit tricky because we need to input the same image on the three channels because it's expecting a color. So we're just going to input this on all three channels, which you can see is this nice image right there. And we're going to input the color over here. So now what's going to happen, as you can see, is we'll multiplying the white and black image into our color. And now the color is going to be a little bit more contrasty. Unfortunately, and this is something that it would be nice to have, there's no factor slider here to control how much of the ambient occlusion we want to get into the texture. We will need to add another node, which is called a remap node. Oh, here, let me show you. I will have to do a AI remap or AI HSV. I think we can do an HSV remap HSV, which remaps the hue, saturation, and value. So we get this here, and then the out color, all three channels would go in here. So R, or the R channel, no, yeah, this is actually fine. So R, G, and B. No, wait, here we will need to do R, and then R, and R, because we only want the R channel to go into this node right here. And as you can see, it's the same node. And now with the remap, we can go here to the value, and we can move these things around and change like the intensity of the element. So in this case, if we move this little point up and down, we're gonna get rid of the blacks, and that way we lower the contrast amount. Again, a little bit too much. Like I would love to have like another node, but this is what happens with 3D softwares, right? Like some softwares will make it really simple, and then other softwares will make it really hard. And the best thing you can do is just learn whatever you have in hand to make sure that it works, right? So yeah, there we go. So as you can see, this is now multiplying the element, and as I mentioned, like we can go over here, and if I were to move this thing around, you're gonna see here, we should see. Oh my God, there we go. We can like modify these things around. Okay, that was saturation. Value, I meant value. So there we go. We can change the contrast of the value right here. Now, that's just basic stuff, right? Like, well, we're missing roughness. So from this one right here, which is my occlusion roughness metallic, G is the roughness. So it's gonna go into spectral roughness. And very important, this one needs to be set up to utility raw as well, so that the colors are working in a nice linear way. No color balance or color correction in there. Now, if I were to go here, right-click, assign existing material, and assign the rocks material, I can press number 6, and I can actually press number 7 right here, or just turn on the lights, or I can even go here into render and turn on my render view in the viewport. It's not as fast as Arnold. This is, again, where Blender. It's one of the things that I really like about Blender, that the real-time rendering that it has is really, really good. So as you can see, we get this. So not bad, not perfect either, but not bad. Let me tile this. I'm going to tile this thing a couple of times. So I'm going to go to the place 2D texture nodes of all of the textures, like this one's right here, these three guys right here. And let's do 2 tiles. So 2 and 2, 2 and 2, and 2 and 2. Which, by the way, we could also just like delete this guys and then use the same one for the 3 of them. And that should do the exact same thing. So now, as you can see, the texture has been tiled twice, and we're going to see a little bit more detail overall. Now, I'm going to press render here, and you can see that the texture is not looking bad, but it's not displacing, and I definitely want to displace. So what can we do to create a nice displacement? Well, we need to follow the exact same procedure that we did for the Blender file. We need to assign a Catmull-Clark subdivision surface. So someone in the comments mentioned that's the smooth subdivision. Yeah, when you press number 3, you're activating this the Catmull-Clark subdivision. Sorry, I blanked out there. So I'm just gonna grab the shape right here. You're gonna go into the smooth mesh function, in the Arnold function, and down here on the subdivision, we're gonna set this to Catmull-Clark, and we're gonna do again like 4 iterations. So this means that at render time, it will subdivide this object 4 times. And remember, each subdivision multiplies the amount of faces by 4. So right now, we're only at 760 faces, or actually 400 faces. So the first subdivision, it's going to be 1600, and then it's going to be not 3200, it's not double, it's 4 times that, which is what we see right here. It's 12,448. There we go. So yeah, we're gonna do like 4 iterations right here. And now, if I were to go here, let's do Arnold Render. You can see that we have this, and it looks okay, right? Like we can see the sort of like the normal map effect. Let me add another light here. So I'm gonna go Arnold lights. Let's add an area light. Let's make a strong area light coming from like the top. Let's do like a 10 exposure, just so that we can see a little bit more, maybe a little bit more. 15 more. Let's do 20. 20 is too much. Let's do 18. There we go. So now you can see the normal map working here because we can see the shadows from the object. So it looks okay, but it doesn't look like it's displacing the surface. What else can we do? Let me go real quick here to my options, and I'm going to change in the system. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can use GPU to render, and it should be slightly faster. The first time, it always takes a little bit longer because it needs to like load all the textures and make sure that it's working. But after it stops hanging here, it will work properly. And if you have a strong GPU, it should be faster. Most of the times, like I don't have a strong GPU. Well, it is strong, but not super strong. It's a GeForce GTX 1080 that I got a couple of years ago before the GPU crisis. Most of the people you see online, like showing things in 3D and stuff, they will have like super powerful builds with like double GTXs, 3090s Ti's, and that's why the renders take so little. But normally, it's okay for renders to take a little bit longer than usual. So let me pause this real quick, guys, just to make sure that this works. I'm just gonna stop it and then play it again. Hopefully it doesn't crash. And I'll be just running back. It's just gonna be a quick jump here. There we go. And I know that this is working because when you stop it and you play, you can see that instead of like rendering in like big chunks, it does like this noise thingy where it progressively polishes the image. So let's stop this right here. And now after we'd set this up, like this is actually rendering all of the subdivisions that I've mentioned before. Now we're gonna go into the actual what's the word? I'm going to go into the actual displacement of the thing. So I'm going to jump into here, which is the hypershade. And we already have this thing right here, which is my displacement. So what I'm going to create now, I'm going to press tab and I'm going to create a displacement. AI displace, or is it displacement shader? Displacement shader, there we go. Which if you remember is very similar. So I'm just going to plug this into the displacement part of my shader. This one we don't need anymore. And I do believe we do have an Arnold displacement. Let me just look for it. Or maybe we don't. Oh, that's fine. So over here on the displacement, I'm just going to plug in the color. And I just need the red color in this case on the displacement. Why? Because most of the information, like the black and white information, is going to be on the red channel. So that's perfectly fine. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now this one, make sure this is set to raw. In this case, it is. So it should be fine. And let me save this real quick just before anything crashes, because, you know, everywhere or in any sort of project, we always run the race, right? Now, if I hit play, what I expect to happen, and yeah, it's working properly, is for the geometry to be displaced. Now, as you can see, we're not being able to displace this properly because we need more divisions. So what can we do? Well, I already know that this is like a very low subdivision sphere. And even though we're doing 4 subdivisions over here, it's not enough. So what I can do is I can do a mesh smooth here inside of like the viewport. And now, once we hit this 4 iterations, it's going to go even higher, similar to what we did yesterday with the apply button. So let me again save. Let's grab this guy, freeze transformation. And also, I'm going to go into the displacement options here on my hypershade. I personally like a little bit more the Blender interface because I hate having so many windows all over the place. But if you have like 2 monitors, it's actually quite handy because you could just move them from one side to the other. But yeah, I mean, you can like, tweak them and stuff with that. I don't like it. So I'm going to go here to the displacement node, and then here on the scale, we can modify this, let's say like 0.1. And now if I were to render this, we're going to have way, way less displacement. So that might be a little bit too little. So let's push it a little bit further. So let's do like 0.3. And let's see how this looks. Maybe still too little. Let's go a little bit higher. Let's do 0.5. Okay, it might have crashed a little bit, so let me just close this. And because sometimes when you update the geometry, it doesn't update properly. So let me try that. Ah, that's really weird. Let's do, am I doing the proper option? Yeah, let's do a 1, scale 1. Huh, that's really, really weird. Did I modify something here? I don't think I did. Okay, let's try again, no problem. Super easy, just create a new sphere. Something might have crashed over there, no worries. So I'm just gonna go mesh, smooth. And let's do a history, freeze transformation, center pivot. And then this one, we're gonna set to Cadmod Clark. Let's do like 4 subdivisions. Let's assign the material, which is the M rocks. And technically now, there we go. It seems to be moving it. Maybe the scale is way too little now that we have more divisions, which seems to be a little bit weird, but let me just go over here. Well, let's try like a 10. Oh, you know what's happening, guys? And this is very important. We didn't do the exact repetition here, so we need 2 and 2 because we're offsetting everything. There we go. Now, let's go for like a really big number. This is really weird. Huh. Sometimes another issue I've faced is that the GPU can't handle like all of the elements. And for some reason it kind of like crashes or something. You can see it's working a little bit better here. But I don't think we have to go like super crazy. That would be ridiculous. No, so something's happening on the displacement. Did we disconnect something? Okay, so it seems to be the height here. This is another of the values that we sometimes change. There we go. So it was a height. Okay, so let's go back to our options here. And that's why I mentioned that yesterday that displacement is a little bit easier inside of inside of Blender. So let's go here now. So that's a scale of 1. And now on the shape itself, I'm gonna bring the scale back to like 2 or 3 or 10. There we go. So by modifying the height over here, as you can see, we're able to let the surface push the vertices like higher. So let's go to like 100, and there we go. Now we're seeing the displacement. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So now, like as you can see, it cuts right here. Well, not actually, that's the light. So if we wanted to increase the scale over here on the displacement tab, which is, I think one of the issues that with Maya is that it adds more control with things. So if you want to do crazier and crazier things, it's a little bit easier. But sometimes, well, it's not the same thing, right? So yeah, 1,000 is way too much. Let's go back to like 100. There we go. I think like 50 in this case. We're also using a sphere, which is not the best shape to showcase this because, as you can see, we get some crazy things over here. But yeah, this is displacement, guys. This is how you set up displacement. Let me add a plane as well. So I'm gonna assign the exact same like material over here, and then I need to assign the subdivision like Cadmod Clark thing as well. And now, as you can see, things are not working over here. Let's render this again, and let's see what the hell is going on. Do we need more height over here? Where is my floor plane? The scale sometimes messes things up. There we go. It was the scale, the first transformation, because it thought that it was like a wrong scale, so that's why we need to do it. There we go. So now on the plane, I'm gonna modify the scale or the height so that we do get some sort of like definition here, but not that much. There we go. That's a little bit closer to what we're looking for. And we need more divisions. So let's stop this. Let's subdivide. So I'm gonna say mesh smooth. And again, delete history, first transformation, center pivot. And now, since we have more divisions, technically, this iteration should give me a little bit more, like a nicer result, right? Closer to the surface that we want. So the height value inside of each object will allow us to control the intensity of displacement per object, which is, again, quite handy because that way, if some things need to be like displaced quite a bit and other things need to be kept in a closer look or way, then we should have a nicer or a little bit of a better control. Let's do 10 over here. But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys like this. I'm sorry for the like going back and forth. This is the way to set up. You will find certain errors as happened to me. Usually not that bad. but yeah, it's important to also know how to fix it. That's why I like being so transparent with you guys. I don't want, because I do think sometimes people get the wrong idea with 3D, and they see us instructors doing a lot of stuff and we get it right at the first time. I prefer to just show you how to solve things, because otherwise, I mean, I could have just easily stopped the video, do it again, make sure it works at the first time, and that's it. But being able to troubleshoot things is also a very valuable skill to have. Hopefully you guys understand. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your for watching this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and tomorrow I will have a very nice video for you about Maya as well. We'll continue with the lighthouse. Don't worry, I'm in finals right now. Well, not myself, but my students are in finals, so they've been sending all of their works and their like final exams. So I've been a little bit busy like grading and making sure all of the students are doing well. But as soon as this week passes, I can focus again on like bigger projects like the lighthouse. Yeah, let us know what else you guys want to learn here in the comments. We've been taking most of your comments into consideration. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.